Now a friend of mine he asked me to show my studio, but I told the nigga, I said I ain't got time to do that, man. I'm in there recording, and besides, all this in here, up in here, is copyrighted. You know what I'm saying? It's copyrighted. You can't use that. But anyway, I told him I show, so that right there, see that right there, my monitor, man. Look at that. That's a big 23-inch. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but anyway, so yeah, so it's the same kind of thing. But look at those bass traps hanging from the ceiling. Well, they're hanging roughly over those monitors, you see, a little bit offset to the middle. And what that does is, you see when a speaker vibrates, it compresses the air back and forth. Compresses it out, and then it pulls it back in, and it makes these sort of sine waves up and down. And they go all directions, more directionally as they increase in frequency, and more omnidirectional as they decrease in frequency. So in other words, in layman's terms, the low frequencies, all those guys go everywhere. Like they come out of the front, they come out of the top, they come out of the sides, they come out of the back, the bottom, and they go up and hit the ceiling and come back down. Well, that's a problem. And they go to the wall and come back. And those are all problems because the waves can cancel when their polarity is completely inverted at 180 degrees. Like two sine waves, you slide them to the left or right, and you'll see that they'll finally reach a vertices where they cross exactly, and they'll cancel each other. But if they line up, they'll multiply each other, or they'll increase the volume. So I've got 140, 70, and 280. Those bass frequencies, 70, 140, 280, are being multiplied because the distance from this speaker to the ceiling, or the ceiling is 8 feet, so they're ricocheting up and down, and 8 feet just so happens to allow 70, 140, and 280, and whatever double 280 is, 560. It allows them to multiply. So it's really loud, way louder than it should be. So I put this 4-inch thick mineral rock insulation. So now the bass frequency has to travel and hit this and find its way through 4 inches of fibrous rock. Then hit the ceiling and come back through another 4 inches of fibrous rock. So it pretty much will dampen some of that 170, 140, 280 business. And it'll also help the frequencies that are canceling each other and dipping way down, mainly 100, 250, stuff like that. So those are the new bass traps that a friend of mine helped put up there. They're hanging about 10 inches, maybe 12 inches from the ceiling. I haven't had a chance to technically test them yet with a keyboard because I've had you notice my keyboard is gone. It's gone. Actually, I put it in the bedroom and spent about 4 hours taking it apart, cleaning the keys, because there was a syrupy, sticky thing on several keys. And you press it down, and it was like really hard to press down. So I had to open it up and do that. It was not fun, but I finally did it. I hope I got it back together without breaking it, but I'm going to find out. But it's really heavy, so I can't really, I got these herniated discs, so I can't really grab it good enough to lift it. I don't think. I might be able to. We'll see. You always got to have your banana at the ready. I mean, that's, very important. And the Tums. Dum, da, dum, dum. So, it's basically the same as it was. Just these speakers are Adam A5X speakers. And they're really, really good. They sound great. They're you know, I mean, you can see how, you can see how big they are. They're not that big. They're 5.5-inch cone. And this ribbon tweeter is really, really, really nice. It just makes the high end sound just uncluttered and smooth like it should be. And it goes up to like something insane like 50,000 hertz, which we can't hear. But yet they go down to 50. The woofer does. The cone goes down to 50 hertz accurately. And then it starts rolling off after that. It's got volume on the front. I don't know if you see it. It's got volume knob on the front. And off on switch on the front. That's a piece of tape. And what that does, it blocks the light. So I don't have these glaring dots in my eyes when I'm sitting in my chair. Nice. Kevlar. And if they hadn't made it so shiny on the outside, they could have coated it with a flat black, you know. Nobody has to see the Kevlar, but I guess they wanted to show off the dragon scale look. Anyway, so on the back you got some inputs, which you can't see because of the light. There's no light back here. But I'll tell you, it's got some very useful controls. You've got some, you know, roll off for the bass and the high. You've got and then the one thing I really like is you've got a volume control just for the tweeter. So if you want that tweeter to be louder, which means from the cutoff frequency up will be louder, which I think, I can't remember if it's 1.5 kilohertz, but somewhere in that range, 1.5, 2 kilohertz, it handles everything from there up. So you can turn the volume of that guy up independently. That's awesome. And this tweeter, when you turn the volume up to unity, which is way louder than, well, a lot louder than what I've got it now, that tweeter is just unbelievably quiet. And that's another thing why I like these monitors. When they're on, you can't tell they're on. It's brill. They're like $1,000 for the pair. Not that I had the money, but I had some LSR 28Ps, JBLs, which were like, you know, this much bigger and this much wider. And I wasn't using them. They were way too big, but they sounded awesome, but they were just way too big for this room. So I sold them for $900 and turned around and got these. So I do, you know, I say stuff into this mic when I do my voiceover. It goes over to my Focusrite preamp. And then from there it goes to, well, out in the hallway. I'm moving my computer out. You can see all this wire mess and jumble of wires. And it goes all the way out to, where's my light? Oh, it goes all the way out to this computer. And I've got it in the hallway, which was a nice move, because now I don't have to listen to, you know, that fan going. And I got some external hard drives up here. It's got some stuff, and I try to copy, you know, backup stuff there. And so there it is, my little, I sit in this room most of the day, and there's my little homemade chair. Little lawn chair with some cushion in it. Works pretty well. I guess I could get some kind of office chair, but I don't know. This one I tolerate. Another little office chair without arms. That's, you know, I like these kind because you can just sit down and not be encumbered by anything. Yeah. It needs to be clean. It's got paint stains and all sorts of little dark areas. So that's it. More bass traps everywhere. Foam. It's pretty dead in here now with these bass traps and the foam. So I guess that's it. Nothing fancy. I've got my battery backup. Why has he got plastic around it? When I first bought it, it reeked of electronics, like how they stink when they burn and stuff. So I put 2 layers of plastic around it to slow that down, or you know, to like 1% instead of 100%. And it still doesn't heat up with the plastic on it. So it solved my problem, and that's what I'm about, making things work. My Furman power conditioner. Don't leave home without that. If the power goes out, my battery will kick in, but if the power goes weird or freaky, or there's noise, or you know, there's spikes, that conditioner will protect your stuff. But it's like $400 something. Well, it's $500 something. I got it for $400 something. So there you go. It's an AR. What is it? It's an AR 1215. So if the power, if the city starts giving me 140 volts AC, this thing will crank it down to 120, whatever it is. This thing will crank it down at least to 100, like 120 or something like that, 123. So you can see it's saying that there's that I'm getting 131 volts from the city, which is too high. That's why that other green light that says in regulation is on. What that means is that this unit is sending that AC voltage through some transformers to step down the voltage to where it should be. So the higher the voltage the city gives me, or the lower the voltage the city gives me, the unit has to work harder to spit out the right voltage for my computer and stuff. But normally it's sitting around 131, or that light below that, which is 125. It's just giving you a range. It can't give. You don't need to know every voltage. So somewhere around 129, 130 is what I'm getting, which is too high. But you can see here 127 is what this says. So my battery's saying I'm getting 127, so it's probably about right, 128. It should really be 120. 117 is what it used to be, I think. But I don't know. I'm not really an electronics person. That's it, I guess. So, ask and you shall receive. It's a nice little, there's more bass traps. This is a nice little room I sit in and just have fun, you know. There's my guitar. Oh, my guitar. With toilet paper on there and holes I drilled in it to give it that special one-of-a-kind sound. Oh, man. Whatever. So there you go. And there's me in the mirror. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Okay. Well, that's it. I don't know anything. Let me see if I just turn his light on. Whoa! That's a 500 watt bulb right there. Alrighty. So, there you go. I'm working on some chill, relaxing music. Maybe I'll have enough for an album. A friend of mine came over and we worked on this song that he's working on, and I let him hear this one song. He was digging it. He was like, man, it would be cool like to have Sting-like vocals on there. But I told him, well, just lay some stuff down, you know. I mean, he doesn't sing like Sting, but you know, he was just hearing that style. So he sang some stuff on it, and a couple of things turned out pretty cool. And so I think I'm just going to keep some of it and make it like a wash, just kind of like you can hear it barely, and it's not completely intelligible. It's just like, you know, those notes that you just hear. You know it's a vocal, but you don't really know what he's saying. So anyway, why am I in my washroom? Well, determinism, man. I was in the hallway and I was forced to come in here. Anyway, nothing else. I'll be making something someday. So that's it, Mr. Tootie Boy. Alright folks, I'm going to try and do something constructive, starting with a shower. Thank you very much.